Crosswind chaos, Pogacar laughing at Ineos, Bulls fighting, Andalucia stage 3 had it all. This was, I don't even know what this route was. It got changed, I think, multiple times because there were high winds. It was supposed to finish, and it did finish on Alcalá de los Gazules, which is like a steep ramp that we always see in Andalusia. These sort of finishes, you've seen a million of them in Spanish races like this, a punchy finish. The question was, would Pogacar, with that big loaf of bread and this very small jersey, would he go for the stage again? There were high winds, higher than 35 kilometers an hour, gusts quicker than that. We're in wind farm territory here, and a big break of like 22 plus riders went. So the answer was, with Wellens in that break, who was the heavy favourite from it for UAE, the answer was probably the break was going to win. And why UAE pacing here? Well, the answer is there's a dangerous crosswind section coming up, but the sort of indirect benefit of that is you got to keep pressure on a break this big if you have a favorite in the break and your UAE, because if that break gets 10, 12 minutes and there's no pressure from behind, they can start attacking Wellens, who's isolated, and there's many teams with multiple riders in that group. They can start attacking Wellens from really far out, whereas the pressure behind it means they need to cooperate for a bit longer. But here you see the crosswind section kicks off. Pogacar's in good position, no surprise, got the strongest team, he's the strongest rider, and yeah, there's no problem for him. I think Pascal on there is left. I don't know where Lander is. Moritz is there. Maybe Buitrago seemed a bit not too bad in the crosswinds for once. He's struggled in Saudi Tour a few years in the crosswinds. They're splits already. It's a strong left to right crosswind, and that's going to continue sort of blustering and affecting the bunch almost all the way in. Poor Azamendi. Euskaltel and Basque riders like that, I think they're contractually obliged to miss the splits in crosswinds. And then I think Liam Slock, Geraint Thomas style, goes into a ditch, gets forced into a ditch on the right-hand side of the road. This, I think, is ultimately good for his career, because from Thomas and Gent-Wevelgem 2015, he went on to great things, win the Tour de France. But the wind was crazy. Ineos went to the front after UAE took the foot off the gas, and then once they assume front position, they kind of chill, but then UAE want to get to the front, so there's this wave effect of riders moving up, stopping, moving up, stopping. It's really surgy, nervous. Azamendi's getting ruined. Connor Swift is in this break moving up, the new signing for Ineos. He was on Arkea last year, and he helped Quintana a lot. But I've been out of the renewables game for a while, but man, this wind turbine looks flogged. What is that, an oil leak on it? Like, that's crazy. I think they should probably go, someone should go probably check that out. But yeah, the wind changed direction. They went to headwind, or they were on the climbs. And Dries de Bont's here, as well as I said, Puccio, Swift, Pierre de Latour, Tour de France stage winner Ugo Ull, Cyril Barth, Battistella, who's pushing the pace on this little climb through town, Zambanini, who's a nice young rider for Bahrain. And whilst it's nice to have everyone seeing the race from their doorstep, it was very fortunate that no one really came down through the windy descent out of this town. It was crazy. You rarely see pros giving each other this much space on descents. Not this bit, the next bit when they turn left. The gusts hitting their wheels must have been crazy. You never see pros descending like this. Wind was crazy. Battistella's unclipping. And this is the breakaway. So we're wondering what will happen in the group behind, predictably. And listen, this has been happening for years. Tour de France, stage 3, Croatia race last year. And he's not trying to bridge the break or anything. Bahrain will be like, gets to the front for the town. There's dangerous descent coming up. Moritz goes to the front. And he just smashes and drops, just goes clear, and it's not very helpful. That seems to be a pattern of what he always does, and does that here through town. So whatever rider was supposed to be sitting in his draft on Bahrain is not sitting in his draft. But yeah, maybe he was going to recon the sketchy descent up ahead, where you can see even he's not really tipping it in, and everyone's going super wide through the corner and the bend, and it's a good road surface. So yeah, the crosswind must have been crazy. Everyone's giving Pogacar a huge amount of space, because you don't want to be the guy to crash the two-time Tour de France winner. Anyway, look at this one. The Black Bull tries to do a sneaky one on the Brown Bull, and look at the dexterity of the Brown Bull. It turns around and gets its head down so quick, and then it must be the alpha of the group just absolutely ruins the young bull. We're going to see a bit of this on the finish later with Pogacar and Ineos, but yeah, that's a unanimous victory for the brown bull. That was the main crosswind nervous. I mean, there was nervousness that would remain. Pogacar on the radio here. UAE made sure they stayed to the front, but it wasn't looking like it would split the bunch for the remaining 20Ks. It was actually more of a headwind, which was suiting Tim Wellens, making it to the line. But the other teams had numbers. Alpecin used numbers. But fortunately for Wellens, instead of him being bled bit by bit in the 15K, 20K run-in by Intermarché, by Ineos, by Alpecin, by Total, who had the Latour and Soup, because there's so many riders with multiple teammates and the group is so big, he just got to sit on and he was super patient and calm, and they all cannibalized each other, except for Rex. He was mad strong, this Intermarché rider. I think he's coming back from injury. He put De Bont in the bin in this headwind section. You see the wind, how strong it was blowing. Really, really strong attack. Puccio was sort of holding the gap stable for Swift, but then we didn't see really who brought this back. They stayed fixed on Rex for a while, but yeah, he was super strong in this run in. And then I don't know if he attacked on the final too. De Bont couldn't really pull, but yeah, they're finishing on Alcalá de los Gazules. I don't know if they changed to not be finishing there. I was really confused watching the stage. I had no idea if it was a flat sprint or an uphill sprint. Wellens brought it back, and then another counterwind. I thought this was going because had Battistella, strong, Italian on Astana. It had, I don't know who the Burgos Piace guy was, maybe Path, and it had Uhl, who's strong as an ox too. But the final ramp was really, really steep and hard, and Wellens just puts everyone in the bin and wins the stage easily. It's cloudy, below like 20 degrees. Some people got arm warmers on, but not Wellens. It's February, and it's a dot pro race. You know the result when Wellens was in this break. Tactically, he made zero mistakes. Perfect tactically. UAE put their confidence in him. They dropped Novak out of the break. The finish suited him perfectly. He's won Vuelta stage finishes when the Vuelta was in November and it was cool. In 2020, he ruined, I think, Woods on a technical uphill finish, and he's just too good for these guys. Except for Pierre de Latour enters the climb, obviously in bad position, having to work his way through. He's very, very strong in these finishes. But first win for Wellens at UAE, rewarded for his hard work on the previous two stages. The Latour second, I think Battistella and Swift fourth, but Ineos, what are they up to behind? And we saw this in the Vuelta last year. Even when the break was winning, what they do is they pace really hard to the base of the final climb and then just block it up. And Pogacar, I don't know if he cared too much, but he definitely thought it was curious or found it funny. He went to the front and just basically Gegenhardt and Sivakov were lucky not to be put on time. Same as Rodriguez here. If there was a split, they would have been. He looks back and then says, you made that a lot harder than that needed to be, Ineos, and smiles, which is pretty funny over the line. Maybe he was just smiling about Wellens winning the stage. Maybe it was him thinking, what were Ineos doing at the end? But Wellens wins ahead of Latour Battistella. GC largely unchanged. Hope you enjoy the video. Stage 4 tomorrow. Can UAE make it 4 from 4 at Ruta del Sol? Pogacar is obviously, he didn't win the stage, so concerns for his form, I guess. Until then, ciao.